Lucky Rot.
Sub.
What's good? What's good? What's good? How we doing? How we doing? Let's go and turn this on.
Orcalero Orcalla. Gara Maramadongdong. Orcalero Orcalla.
The whole commercial was non-skippable. Wow.
Grande Lucky Rot. Grande Lucky Rot.
Our story begins somewhere deep in the mountains of Tennessee. It's a beautiful day for a hike as this dude Chase and his girlfriend Macy set off towards the overlook where Chase is finally gonna pop the question. But that right there was his biggest mistake. See, they're not the only ones who are out for a little nature walk.
Cannone maledettore. Cannone maledettore. Ferinsin Ilaki. Ferinsin Ilaki. Centralucci Nuclearucci. Gigalitractos Spidorobus. Gigalitractos Spidorobus. Cececi Sahu.
All they've got is this one little pocket knife, and that's not gonna cut it if they run into a bunch of cannibals. Personally, I'm turning around and
Cececi Sahu.
right now. That way I can live to propose another day. When they finally make it to the overlook, Chase says that he wants to take a couple of photos, and Macy's like, oh snap, here it comes. But somewhere out there, that freaky woman winds up this little noise. When Broski's about to pull the ring out, they hear the music playing somewhere in the distance. Whatever it is, it's kind of ruining the moment, so instead of sticking to the script, Chase hits the brakes and says,
Volvito bandito, tractorito.
Macy thinks he's nuts. He tries to get it back on track, so putting the ring back in his bag, he promises to be right back and heads off to see what's up. He hasn't gone far before he starts coming across more of these baby dolls hanging from the trees and lying all over the ground. And as he gets closer, he spots
Los
the woman
Bros.
standing there with her back turned. Now, in a moment of pure stupidity, this doofus actually walks right up to her, thinking she needs help. But then he grabs her shoulder, and when she turns
Pipoqueira
around,
motoqueira.
all he sees is a damn baby mask staring him right in the face. Dropping him to the ground, she grabs a shovel and comes waddling back to finish the job, but instead of taking him out clean, she moves the shovel down over his leg and, after giving him a second to think about it, stomps straight down as hard as she can. Now this time, she takes the shovel and starts aiming for his head, and Chase grabs it, trying to fight way too strong, and sticking the blade in his mouth, he jams it up and rips off his entire jaw.
Dig Tortodov.
Welcome to Refresherland. Kick back with black cherries, golden tart, or you pick pineapple. A tropical refresh. Dunkin' Refreshers.
I know some people want a jaw-dropping proposal, but this might actually be just a little too much here. Like, I'll tell you one thing, this definitely wasn't what Chase had in mind when he left the house today. But when your big day ends with you getting absolutely schmirked by an overgrown baby lady, I'm sorry, broski, but you have f***ed up. See, I could tell this relationship wasn't gonna last the minute that they kept going after finding a bunch of freaky-ass dolls in the trees. Like, I already thought I would have been long gone the minute I even glimpsed one of those demonic Cabbage Patch Kids. But imagine seeing all that, then hearing some kind of creepy conjuring-ass music coming from the bushes, and going, you know what, I better check that out. My guy, you gotta be dumb as f***. Like, if anything, this would be the chance to prove he'd be a good husband by getting Macy and himself the hell out of there. And like she literally said, it's always safer to just stay on the damn trail. I mean, that's just hiking safety 101. But at the first sign of danger, this bozo split up, wandering off the path, and left Macy all by herself. So he was already screwing up before Dolly Myers even caught his fade. Now, this turned out to be a great example of why you never want to be too friendly, especially with random people you see in the middle of the woods. I know everybody likes to say don't judge a book by its cover, but sometimes that's exactly what you have to do. So if I'm walking down the trail and come across some random lady who's covered in blood, built like a freaking WWE wrestler, you think I'm walking up to see if she needs any help? Hell no. Talking about some, are you alright, ma'am? Like, no, broski, and you won't be either if you don't get the f*** out of here pronto. So if my guy was actually thinking about survival instead of acting like a damn Boy Scout, he could have just bailed before Dolly even knew he was there. And the second she turned around with a damn doll mask on her head, brother, just run. I mean, honestly, what are you even doing? The one thing I will give him credit for was how he didn't call for help. That's actually hella smart, because in this situation, you don't want Dolly to know the wifey is out there. But my guy came here to propose, and instead he got turned into an example. So sorry, Chase, but you kind of f***ed up here. After a while, Macy starts to wonder why Chase hasn't come back yet and decides to go looking for him. And sure enough, she comes across the same spot with all those freaky baby dolls hanging from the tree. After a while, she finds the music box just as it finally goes dead, but there's still no sign of her boyfriend. And that's when she notices the grave surrounded by even more of those dolls. Holy crap, it's a headless body. Horrified, Macy backs up only to bump right into the woman with the doll mask. She's holding a dirty shovel with her hands covered in blood, and Macy starts screaming for help. But Dolly just looks over to the side, and following her glance, Macy finally spots Chase slumped against a tree with his jaw hanging off. Macy starts booking it, yelling for help as Dolly grabs the shovel and starts waddling after her, making it back to their bags without the woman catching up. She starts digging through their stuff for anything useful, sticking a little Swiss Army knife in her pocket, only to find the ring that Chase was planning to give her. Now, while she's distracted, Dolly sneaks up from behind and touches the side of her face. Pulling away, Macy jumps to her feet and dips back into the woods. She doesn't really make it far before she trips over a branch and smashes her head on a rock, knocking herself out cold. And a few minutes later, she wakes up to find herself in the same spot with a nasty bruise on her head. But while she's still coming to her senses, Dolly shows up and starts grabbing her face like, coochie coochie goo. Mary shoves her back, but then Dolly hauls off and smacks the soul out of her, only to pick her up and give Macy a little nosebleed 2 seconds later. That's when Macy breaks out the pocket knife and shanks Dolly right in the side. But Dolly just tanks the hit and starts lifting Macy up by the neck, choking her until she passes out, before carrying her back to his creepy-ass house somewhere deep in the forest. Okay, I'm not just here to tell you how to beat all the sharks and masked killers. I'm also here to show you how to beat being bored and low-key broke. Yeah, that's right, you guys. We're talking about free cash again. Here's a little bit of a refresher for you. Free Cash is the awesome app that allows you to play games or all fun, fixated play, and on 7 out of 5, they have a few ever you well, that's not good. And once Once you sign up, let me know in the comments what you are playing. Well, that's not good. It looks like Macy's on her way to Dolly's Diddy Mansion, but honestly, she could have totally avoided this if she was using her brain. The first problem was that after turning around to see a giant doll woman gripping a damn bloody shovel, Macy decided to wait 3 to 5 business days before she actually started running. Now, obviously, this was time to run first and ask questions later, but there's an important catch. Randomly dipping through the woods as fast as you can is actually hella dangerous for this exact reason. Like, if you're not paying attention, you can easily end up getting lost or injured, like what just happened here. So instead, here's what I would have done. Anytime you're being chased by a slasher villain, the first thing you've got to figure out is where they land in terms of speed, because that's going to make a huge difference when it comes to your strategy. You want to figure out if they're the slow type like Michael Myers, or if they'll actually sprint after you like Ghostface. And the good news about Dolly is, she pretty much moves at the speed of an actual baby, which means all I got to do is keep up a light jog and I should be good. Then I can just run away while she's still waddling around, but when it comes to fighting her, I've got some plans for that too. Dolly here might not be the fastest, but she's super strong and extremely durable, which means that we're gonna have to outsmart her. So here's what I'm thinking. First, instead of wasting time going for the ring, I would have taken the backpack and put it near the cliff, and then quickly hid nearby and picked up a heavy branch. So with any luck, Dolly might get distracted by the bag, and that's when I charge out of the bushes, smack her with the branch, and knock her ass straight off of the cliff, using the environment to take her out. Pretty smart, right? Now, after giving herself a concussion, it's going to be pretty hard to fend off a giant baby lady. But I still see 2 good options here. The pocket knife obviously wasn't going to do much damage unless she hit the right target. So instead of wasting it, I would have waited for a chance to get under her mask and go for a critical hit, which brings me to my next point. Anytime you see a killer wearing a mask like this, it's safe to say they've got some kind of deep psychological connection to it. So one of the best things you can do is just pull off the mask. I mean, 9 times out of 10, they'll stop fighting and start bugging out until they get the mask back on, which would give me another chance to either run for my life or go for a finisher. So once Dolly grabbed me, I would just pull off her mask and chuck it as far as I could, and then dip while she was distracted. Easy. When Macy wakes up, it doesn't take her long to realize that she is in big trouble. It looks like Dolly dressed her up like a baby and left her in a room with more of those creepy dolls. So she gets up and starts looking for a way out. The door is locked and won't budge no matter how hard she tries, but that's when she hears somebody coughing inside the next room. The voice tells her to come closer, and as Macy listens in through the wall, he tells her that there's a key that can unlock his room. If she finds it, he says he can get her out of there, but for now her only choice is to play along. And before he can explain any more, they hear Dolly stomping up the stairs. Macy hears her coming for the door and quickly takes cover behind the crib, but as it creaks open, there's no one on the other side. Just then, a baby stroller comes rolling in on some jigsaw type.
What is your retrading rules?
Macy pushes it back out. It rolls back in a few seconds later, this time with the doll facing down, and when Macy goes to fix it, its face is all broken and messed up. Shocked, she jumps back as Dolly comes dancing in like a little kid. But Macy gets so freaked out that she ends up peeing her pants. Grabbing her arm, Dolly drags Macy to the bed and puts her down on the table like a
Tralalero, tralala.
diaper. And as Macy looks around, she notices that the windows are all boarded up, and there's a giant metal bar across the door.
Damn, what are my trading rules? I can do trades, son.
A fresh diaper and sticks a disgusting binky in Macy's mouth as she tries to argue. And knowing Dolly will flip if she tries to fight back, Macy's only choice is to
Welcome, man,
sit
Big
there
Fast. Welcome,
and
man,
get
Panda.
out. Night falls, with Macy still trapped in the house, but meanwhile, back in the forest, we see this dude Chase still slumped against the tree. Somehow he's still alive and determined to save the white man, only to snap his leg the second he puts pressure on him and ends up passing out from the pain. Man, say what you want about Chase here, but that's a guy who is committed to his relationship. There's just one problem. Even though his spirit's not broken, his leg definitely is, and honestly, should have known better than to try to walk on that thing in the first place. After a full force shovel stomp from Big Mama Dolly, that leg is going to be completely shattered. I mean, he's lucky she didn't chop it off like something out of Resident Evil 8, so putting any weight on it is completely out of the question, and if anything, it's kind of dangerous. Or if he breaks it any worse, he could end up severing an artery, and if that happens, he's kind of done. But as always, I still have a plan. So the first thing he should do is craft a makeshift splint for his leg. Basically, all he's got to do is grab 2 or 3 thick branches off the ground, use his shirt for padding, and use vines to tie it all
together. Still not going to be enough to put pressure on it, but that should give his leg a little extra support. After that, I'd look around for a bunch of sturdy branches that I could use as a crutch, and bingo, now we're cruising. We should also have to make a choice here. I mean, he could save Macy by himself, but he's in really no shape to fight. I mean, realistically, if he goes anywhere near Dolly's house, both of them are going to get clapped, so instead I'd have to cut my losses here and go for help first. He doesn't even know where Macy is, but he does know his way back to the car. And if he's able to reach a cop or a park ranger, they should send a whole SWAT team out here to rescue Macy and put Dolly on a t-shirt.
Banana
Even though
Nanito
the white bee
Bandito.
might not be too impressed, it's actually the safer choice for both of them in the long run. So if he really
Too
wants to save
impressed.
Macy,
Crazy.
that's what I would do. Dolly comes back to the kitchen doing her usual baby stuff and picking Macy up, sticks her in a high chair, and starts cleaning off her wound. Well, as she gets closer, Macy realizes that Dolly is wearing her ring. Macy starts arguing with her to give it back. Dolly threatens to backhand her, causing Macy to realize she should probably stop. But after
Yeah,
getting her
fuck that
Band-Aid,
down,
Dolly
man.
accidentally
Still
backs
alive.
up into the microwave, bumping the knife that's still in her side. And when she pulls it out, blood starts spurting from the wound. Surprised, Dolly backs up, grabbing her side, only to fall over slumped on the kitchen floor. And seeing her chance, Macy decides
good,
that
Mino.
it's probably
Mino,
time
Mino,
to
Mino.
escape. Throwing herself over, she knocks down the chair
Mrs.
and
Mino.
manages to breathe and goes straight for the door, but the bar is too heavy to move by herself, forcing her to look for another way out. She starts sprinting through the house, only for Dolly to jump up and grab her from behind. And after dragging her back to the kitchen, she throws Macy
so
down on the
nasty.
table and starts whooping her ass with a cutting board. And once again, Macy just has to thug it out. Back in the woods, we see our boy Chase waking up again, and with half his jaw still hanging off, he starts crawling down, still determined to help Macy.
What am I reading to
Damn.
you? The drinks, of course. First something bright, then something light, something sweet, and something fresh. I take my role very seriously. You guys.
Sompulous. I wouldn't offer anything for it. Not really interested in
Alright,
it.
yeah. I think we can safely say this dude Chase is husband material. I mean, if Macy doesn't say yes after all this, then I don't know what my boy has got to do. But speaking of Macy, she should have already been long gone if she didn't completely fumble this whole opportunity. See, Macy has no idea how lucky she was that Dolly decided to pull out the knife. Because even though it didn't really do much at first, it clearly hit something pretty serious. And that's why Macy should have used this chance to take her out. Like with Dolly being so much bigger and stronger, the only chance Macy's gonna have is if she attacks while she's weak. And I mean, you're never gonna get a better opportunity than when she's slumped on the floor about to pass out from blood loss. So if I was Macy here, I'm not wasting any time. I'm going straight over to Dolly, pulling off her mask and smashing it on the ground. And then grabbing a frying pan, a rolling pin, pretty much
Trade?
anything
Of course,
I
of
can find
course,
here in
of
the
course.
kitchen, and finishing the job before she gets back up. Now, just because Macy missed her chance doesn't mean she won't get another one, and if she's been paying attention,
good,
there's
Ashley.
two important details she should have noticed. One, Dolly doesn't actually want to hurt her, and two, she seems to think Macy is literally a baby. So just like that dude in the wall said, the best thing she can do for now
Can we
is
trade?
play
Yeah,
along.
I just
As
told
long
you
as
we can
Macy keeps
trade.
acting like a
Of
baby,
course.
Dolly won't have any reason to get violent, and what
Yep.
that's going to do is buy her some time. Like I said before, someone should be looking for them eventually, but also Dolly might be a psycho, but she still needs to sleep. So all Macy's got to do is wait for Dolly to go to bed, and then open up the bedroom window, climb out onto the roof, and poof, she's gone. If I was Macy, that would be my next plan. Back at the house, Dolly gets out this disgusting bowl of yellow slime and starts trying to make Macy bowl. But when Macy refuses to take a bite, Dolly hits her with the old "here comes the airplane" and forces it into her mouth. It's so nasty that Macy just spits it back up. But that was a huge mistake, because instead, Dolly goes to the fridge and gets out a bottle full of chunky green milk. And with Dolly starting to get mad, Macy's only choice is to start drinking.
On the road to
She tries her
Oklahoma?
best to keep it down, knowing it's
Down
only
in
gonna
Oklahoma.
get worse if she can, but it's just too foul. And she finally pukes it up all over the table. Well, this makes Dolly even more pissed
Hopefully you
off.
enjoy
She
yourself
starts
on that
crashing
trip to
out, slamming
Oklahoma.
stuff all over the kitchen. But that's when Dolly gets an idea. It makes Macy start drinking straight from the source. Now at first, Macy just has to
Sister?
go along with it, but then she sees an opportunity,
Oh, shit.
and all of a sudden she bites straight down into
She going on up for the rest of the week.
Stunned, Dolly falls to the ground while Macy takes off and runs upstairs. She's ass relaxing by the other room, she hears that dude asking if she found the key yet. But when Macy says she hasn't, he says it might be in the basement, promising to come back for him. She keeps going until she ends up in another bedroom, the one that used to belong to Dolly's mom. But while Macy's looking around for anything useful, she hears that Dolly is coming in hot. That's when Dolly kicks in the door like she's serving a warrant and starts looking around the room searching for Macy. But while her back is turned, Macy jumps out from behind the door and stabs Dolly with a pair of scissors before taking off back down the hall. She runs back to the kitchen while Dolly is still recovering, while she notices the door leading down to the basement. With that looking like her only way out, she heads down there to look for that key. As she reaches the bottom, she realizes that the entire basement is full of more dolls and lit candles made into some kind of shrine. And at the very back, she finds the mother's head stuck at the top of a doll's body with the key around her neck. But she needs that key. So
23 hours,
she
child.
grabs
God
it, then
damn.
turns to head back upstairs, only
3 adults and 4 kids. It was kind of like the last time, in it.
And suddenly, Dolly pops out
He's
from
back
behind
that
the
baby,
dolls
son.
and catches her by
Like
surprise.
everybody sleep.
Well, Macy might be surprised, but at this point,
Football
I'm
Diggo. I
not,
wouldn't
because
trade
I'm
football
sorry,
Diggo
that
by
escape
itself,
attempt was
but
absolute
kind of
trash.
interesting.
Girl,
Kind
I'm trying to root for you here, but you gotta be dumb as a bag of rocks to go down to that creepy ass basement when Dolly was literally right behind you. Genuinely, what the hell were you thinking here? I don't know why Macy keeps deciding to run away every time she's got Dolly on the ropes. But after the first time that didn't work out, don't you think you'd try a different strategy? I mean, she basically had Dolly down for the count back there in the kitchen. So like I said before, I'm taking advantage of that opportunity to take this freak down for good. The minute she hit the ground, I would have just run over, taken off the mask to distract her, and then started piecing her up with anything I could find.
Volpito bandito,
Personally,
trattorito.
I'm not about to let Dolly catch me lacking a second
Hope they
time.
sleep. They should be able to sleep for a good minute.
After Macy's
It's a
sneak
good little
attacked her
ride.
with the scissors, she could have easily just picked up Dolly's shovel, given her a couple taps on the old noggin. She would have been good. Problem solved. And then she could go find this key and look for an exit without having to worry about Dolly chasing her down, right? But I can see at least 2 options here that could have been easier. The first one is pretty simple. Unlike the first floor, none of the windows on the second floor are boarded up. So if I really wanted to avoid a fight, then once I got to the bedroom, I'd start pushing all the furniture in front of the door to slow Dolly down. Then just open the window, quietly sneak out while Dolly is distracted, climb down the side of the house, and dip into the forest. And then I'd be out of there before she even knew I was gone.
I have a Christmas elephant? No, I do not.
Let's say I'm down in the basement about to grab the key, but I know Dolly could be back at any minute. Well, if she went through all the trouble of turning her mother's head into a shrine, that must mean that it's pretty important to her. So instead of just taking the key, I'm taking the whole freaky little doll with the mom's head, because as long as I'm holding it, that should stop Dolly from attacking me. And then I could use it as a meat shield while I make Dolly open the door, toss it into the woods like a football once I get outside, and I'm gone. Smell you later. After pulling her out of the basement, Dolly grabs Macy's ear and drags her back to the bedroom. But she's so strong, she basically just rips it right off. With her ear just hanging on by a thread, Macy starts freaking out trying to hold it on. But Dolly just flops down in the chair and goes, "Come to mama," like she wants Macy to come sit on her lap. At first, Macy's like, "Hell no, I'm not doing that," which makes Dolly start getting all pissed off again. But then Macy notices the key around her neck and realizes that she might still have a chance. So instead, Macy starts humming a little lullaby, calming the woman down, and then goes over and takes a seat on Dolly's lap, only for Dolly to break out a sewing needle and start stitching Macy's ear back on just like one of her dolls. Sometime the next morning, we see Chase still crawling through the forest when he finds Macy's flannel on the ground. So meanwhile, Macy's back at the house, still sitting on Dolly's lap. It seems like the woman might be asleep, but when Macy tries to get up, Dolly just grabs her and pulls her back in. So Macy waits another minute until the woman actually passes out. And once she's finally asleep, Macy gets up and climbs out of the chair. Dolly slumps over like she's half dead.
Scary shit.
Macy's still not sure if she's really asleep or if it's just a trick, but she decides to go for it anyway. And lucky enough, she actually gets the key without Dolly waking up. Staying quiet, she backs into the hall without taking her eyes off Dolly, then starts heading for the stairs. But as she passes the other room, the guy starts begging her to get out. And thinking maybe he can help, Macy unlocks the door and steps inside. The room's pitch dark, but she finds a flashlight on the floor and, turning it on, spots this creepy-looking dude all chained up in the darkness. He says Dolly's had him chained there for months, but when Macy asks why, he just dodges the question and keeps begging her to set him free. She's worried Dolly's gonna wake up if this guy keeps yapping. Plus, he says he can open the door if she lets him out. So, deciding to trust him, Macy does
Dang, she
once
tripping, man.
unlocks the chains. But as she's looking around at all the blood and other stuff covering the walls, she spots a freaking dead guy just posted in the corner. The man says that's his brother who came
Ecco
looking
cavallo
for him, but it
virtuoso.
looks like Dolly only had room for one. And while Macy's focused on the body, this dude sneaks up from behind and puts a piece of the glass up to her neck. It turns out this psycho was playing her all along. He's actually Dolly's father, and yeah, he's definitely not winning any Dad of the Year awards, but now he's going to use Macy as a meat shield to make his escape.
Ah, that's fucked up.
Diagnosed with Crohn's disease and struggling with your symptoms, it's not too soon to talk to your doctor about
She should know better than that shit.
severe Crohn's and learn about the results immediately, including
So wait a minute, you're telling me the guy who looks like Rob Zombie mixed with Charles Manson turned out to be sketchy? Man, I never saw that coming. I can't believe Macy actually fell for that, especially when she didn't even need this dude in the first place. Now, once again, we got Macy missing a perfectly
Tralalero,
good
It's like a little, it's like a little podcast. Tell me where I went that. Huh?
As long as Dolly is still in the picture. So while she was passed out, all Macy had to do was just grab the shovel and start clobbering, and she would basically be home free. But even with Dolly out of the way, she would
This is
still
an
be able to open the
interesting
door, which brings us to
movie.
Dolly's psycho father. He said it over the
It's a
door,
groovy
Macy
name,
let
Dolly.
out, which turned out to be a lie. But if he couldn't give me a single
Okay, I'm
valid
finna go
reason
watch
why
this shit.
Dolly
Let
chained
me
him
see.
up, there's absolutely no way that I would trust this guy. Which means I'd have to figure it all out for myself. Well, now that we have the key, the only problem is that the metal bar is too heavy for Macy to lift on her own. But that's easily
Came out
solved if
last
you
year.
remember what we learned in science class. You see, Macy doesn't have to be strong enough to lift the whole bar. She just needs enough leverage to pop one side out and let it slide out of place. So what I would do is just grab a sturdy board, wedge it under one side of the bar, and use the back of a chair as a pivot point. And then as I dress down, the bar lifts up and boom, I'm out of there. But now it looks like Dolly might have to save her life. Telling Macy to stay quiet, he takes her to the hall and drags her all the way downstairs. So far, there's no sign of Dolly, but as they reach the first floor, he starts calling out to her, trying to wake her up. He says he's going to smoke Macy if she doesn't come down and open the door, but no matter how angry he gets, Dolly is still not showing up. Now getting frustrated, he backs all the way up into the kitchen and then takes the glass and spices Macy's tea. And after hearing her scream, Dolly finally comes out to play. The woman steps around the corner holding a shovel, but the closer she gets, the man holds the glass up to Macy, telling her to put it down. Dolly starts throwing this silent temper tantrum like an angry little child, only to finally cave and drop the shovel on the ground. Motioning for him to wait, Dolly reluctantly goes over and takes the bar off the door. But the second she does, Roasty grabs the shovel and smacks her in the back. He starts beating Dolly down until it looks like she's almost toast. And while he's distracted, Macy tries to run for the door, but he hits her with a behind-the-back shovel smack just
How's
as
she gonna run?
gets there, dropping her flat on the ground. He then goes back to finish off Dolly. But while he's busy yapping, Macy catches him slipping and puts a knife straight in his back. Now furious, the dude turns around to go after Macy, but just when he's about to strike, Dolly gets up, grabs the knife, and sticks her arm all the way through his entire body,
Damn.
leaving a giant hole in the middle of his chest. He picks up the shovel and smashes his head like a watermelon. Terrified, Macy just sits there in shock, not really knowing what to do, but after a second, Dolly comes over and grabs her, dragging her back up to the bedroom. Slamming the door, the woman throws Macy in the rocking chair and starts smashing everything in the room, but then she just sits on the ground, rocks back and forth like an angry little kid. Thinking that this might be her chance, Macy gets up and goes to the door, only for Dolly to grab her from behind. But just when it looks like she's done for, she gets another idea. Instead of fighting back, she starts
How's she
calling
gonna
Dolly Mommy. The trick works, shocking Dolly into letting go. But right at that moment, they hear Chase yelling outside. It looks like Broski actually found him. And Dolly gets so mad, she charges right through the bedroom door. So with her blocking the exit, Macy
Chillin',
decides to
chillin'.
just send it and just dives straight out the damn window. Coming to her
What the
senses,
hell?
Macy wakes up on the ground with Dolly just staring down at them from the second floor. But when she looks back again, Dolly is already gone. And realizing that they don't have much time, she rushes over to Chase and starts saying they need to get the hell up out of there. She tries holding him up, but my dude is too injured to even walk. And all of a sudden, here comes Dolly holding her favorite shovel. Panicking, Macy runs over to try and stop her, but she just knocks her to the ground. Just as
Oh,
Dolly's
for
about to
hell,
be killed, Chase gets up and starts distracting her. There's nothing Macy can do as Dolly turns to go after Chase, and grabbing his jaw, she finishes the job and rips it off completely. But this gives Macy a She
shit.
has to run for her life, and she takes off into the woods with Dolly slowly chasing after her. Okay, well, I guess till death do us part came a little sooner than
Continues. What do you mean
expected, huh?
continues?
I gotta say, diving out of the window was actually a clutch move. But with his broken leg, there was no way Chase was gonna outrun Dolly, so if
Yeah.
Macy really wanted to save him, I
Cool.
only see two possible options here. The easier one would have been to just tell Chase to hide, and then Macy could have gotten Dolly's attention and lured her away, because after all, Macy should still be able to outrun her pretty easily, and then she could just send the police to find Chase once she got to safety. The other thing she could have done was hide until Dolly noticed Chase, and then just pick up a heavy branch and club her while her back was turned. Realistically, Macy's probably getting washed in that fight, even with the element of surprise, meaning that in the end, the best thing she could do was just use Chase as a meat shield and start running right away. That way, at least she'd have a big head start. On the bright side, escaping now should be easy if she just remembers what she learned before. All she has to do is keep up a light jog, watch her step, and she should be in the clear. So at this point, I would just
Treno struzzo turbo 4000.
society, let the cops deal with Dolly, and never set foot in the woods ever again. Macy keeps dipping through the forest, only to end up right back at the spot with all the dolls. But as she's spinning in circles, the real Dolly shows up and starts swinging at Macy with her shovel. Stumbling back, Macy picks
Damn,
up a
she's
stick
trying to
and
kill
starts
her?
trying to defend herself, but Dolly just grabs it like she's fighting a little kid. Now desperate, she throws a few more useless punches, but one of them actually breaks Dolly's mask, causing her to run away and giving Macy another chance to escape. But just when it seems like she's actually making progress, she ends up face planting straight into the open grave. Waking up, Macy finds herself in the grave, lying right on top of the head
How
of
the
the
fuck do
body,
you
and
fall in the damn
disgusted,
grave?
she jumps back and starts trying to figure out what the hell happened. But
Stupid
then she
shit.
hears a twig snap somewhere nearby, and suddenly Dolly appears right behind her and starts swinging the shovel straight at her head. Thinking quickly, Macy grabs the body and starts using it as a meat shield, causing Dolly to drop the shovel and jump down into the grave. She won't attack as long as Macy's holding the body, so Macy shoves it straight at her, giving her a chance to climb out. But this time, she picks up the shovel and blasts Dolly straight across the dome. She hits her 2 more times as Dolly keeps trying to get up, but the third shot seems to do the trick. And thinking it's all over, Macy lets out a little battle cry and jumps down, kicking
See,
her
that
way
what you
back.
don't do.
Nervous, she inches closer and
Oh,
starts
fucking. You
reaching
stupid,
for the ring,
bro.
but then out of nowhere, bam! Dolly grabs her wrist and starts
See?
coming back to life.
Look at
The
that.
woman looks up with this horrifyingly scarred face showing through the hole in her mask, but she's too weak to fight back. So after stomping her out a few more times, Macy gets away and keeps running down the trail. Meanwhile, over by the parking lot, we see this doofy park ranger leaving a ticket on an abandoned truck. He's got his headphones on blasting death metal when Macy suddenly runs up behind him. Catching her breath, Macy starts trying to explain what happened. She tells him there's a woman in a doll mask trying to chase her down, saying she could be there any second. So Brodsky tells her to hop in the whip and says it's all under control. She starts calling it in on the radio as Macy gets in the truck, but just then Dolly comes stomping out of the bushes
See?
and starts heading their way.
She should have
Macy turns
finished
around and
finished
starts
her
fumbling
off.
for his keys with absolutely zero urgency. But by the time she
Something
finally
wrong,
gets
bro.
them off his belt, Dolly comes up and
Yeah.
locks him straight in the head. And then completely decapitates him with another swing.
It's crazy.
Mazda is the safest slim car brand in America. She has no idea. But you do.
Espressona
With the ranger
signora.
out of the picture, Dolly comes up and starts hitting his emotes in front of the window, and then grabs the guy's head and holds it up for Macy to see. Defeated, Macy starts yelling back, "I hate you." But in the split second where she closes her eyes, Dolly suddenly disappears. Now she can see the ranger's keys lying next to his body. But just as she's about to go for it, Dolly comes back and starts bashing the windows with the shovel. She leans in and starts trying to grab her, but Macy kicks the door and knocks her down. And while Dolly's recovering, Macy grabs the keys and starts the truck. Looks like she's finally getting out of there, but when she looks ahead, there's Dolly standing right in front of her. I mean, she puts down the shovel and starts holding her hands up like she's begging Macy not to leave. But Macy's
Just
had
go.
enough of this doll-headed freak. And putting it to drive, she slams on the gas and turns Dolly into a big, ugly speed bump. Finally taking her out once and for all. Now
Get
with
that
Dolly
shovel and
officially
fuck her
done
head
so,
up.
there's still one last thing that Macy has to do. Going back over to the body, Macy takes the engagement ring off her busted ass
Over a
finger
ring?
and leaves her for dead. Then hops in the whip and takes off. The last we see of Macy, she's hauling it down the road in the Ranger's truck, just kind of processing everything that's happened. She's checking the rear view mirror, half expecting to see Dolly flailing around like Leatherface. This time, there's nothing back there but the empty road. And Macy finally puts the ring on her finger, hysterically laughing to herself as
Tortughini
she
Dragon
drives
Frutini.
off into the sunset. And if there's one lesson we can all learn from what happened, it's definitely this. If you're ever on a hike and start finding dolls in the woods, just do yourself a favor and turn the around. Dolly. Yeah, I'm not going to no woods, bro. It's just not happening. I'm not going to the woods.
It's a good
And I
movie.
really pity the fools that end up in a situation like these.
10K likes,
But
so
you gotta let
yo,
me know if you would've done
yo.
anything differently in today's video. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe, and check out that How to Beat playlist for more videos just like this one. I'm Ben. We'll see you in the next video, and have a damn good day.
Top Toby,
Thanks
top,
again
top
to Free
Toby, top.
Cash for sponsoring today's video. If you're interested in making some money by playing some games, click the link in the description below or sign up using the QR code. And I'll keep you posted on Alright, imagine that you're so deep in the friend zone that you need a miracle to get out. Most people would just take the L, hit the gym, and bounce back a year later.
Morning,
like, what's happening
Browski.
for real, shouted. But
Morning,
remember,
morning,
it looks
morning,
faster
morning
out
to
there
you.
in the world, there's gonna be a
How you
million
doing,
other
man? How you
guys
doing?
just like Baron Bailey, or Bear for short. I mean, dude couldn't pull a chair out from under a table, like he's allergic to winning. And what's crazy is he is punching way above his weight class, going after the baddie of the friend group. But just like most of you out there who couldn't help themselves if Nikki looked like Indy Navarrete, Bear makes a wish.
Good thanks, bro.
And his crush would fall absolutely
It's good to hear, man.
and it
Now I gotta wrap my brain for a little bit.
your lucky day, right?
What you thinking about this this portal over there?
Two cannons, damn.
Your life, a living
Oh
hell.
yeah, 2 cannons.
Bear is about to realize that having your dreams come true can actually turn into your worst nightmare. So I'm here to break down the mistakes made, what we should do, and how to beat the one-wish willow.
It's the Louis Vuitton cannon. It's Louis Vuitton. And I got the lovely.
Most down bad guy in the history of this entire YouTube channel, and he is so obsessed with his childhood friends.
Op index it is Bubba 21814.
Index? Index, what are you
Sheesh.
talking about?
So today he's at the diner practicing his big "I love you" speech on the waitress. When he's finally done yapping, his buddy Ian tells him it was cringy as hell. You see, Ian's got some other ideas when it comes to risen up Bear's crush, like calling her Freaky Nikki, which is the name they used to bully her with back in high school. But Bear, he's not really catching on here, and just when it feels like he couldn't get any less confident, he gets home to find his cat Sandy dead on the floor, making one down with 3 more to go. You see, Bear has been living in his grandmother's home ever since she passed away, and he
Index the
carelessly
stir
left
up.
open the medicine cabinet in the hallway.
No.
Poor Sandy must have accidentally hopped up there and gotten into the medicine, and it sends Bear further down his depressive spiral. Later that night, he's lurking on Nikki's IG when she actually calls him up and asks if he's coming to trivia night with their group of friends. Now, at first, he turns her down, but then she drops the news that she's putting in her 2 weeks at the music store that they both work for. So he makes the decision that tonight's gonna be the night that he's gonna finally tell Nikki how he feels. Now, while they're on the phone, Nikki drops her crystal necklace down the drain. So, being the good friend that Bear is, he heads to this little novelty hippie crystal gift shop on the way to the bar to surprise her with a new necklace. The salesperson is not really being the most convincing that a crystal necklace is the way to go here, and that's when something else
Did you see the
catches his
glitch
eye.
yesterday? Gorgs had Eternal above their name and also the vultures too.
And according to the box, apparently
Yeah, I seen that.
breaks it in half.
They might actually do that though.
Before he can shout
Never
out the
know.
shop for coming in clutch, the employee
If
here
they do, that'd be
jokingly
crazy,
says,
bro.
A lot of people complain that it's bull, of course, and is a total gift.
It'd be a
But
game
Bear just
changer.
says, "Put the willows in the
Market
bag,
flip back
bro,"
again.
and dips out.
I just wanted to help people by sharing dad advice on TikTok. Throwing a big fish over. I'm not a dad to just my own kids, but to the millions of people that just need to hear, you've got this.
I hope so. I've got soccer gorgs over 1BS.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking gonna be like $1 million, man.
Alright, this
Market
dude's
is gonna
officially
be
thirstier
so
than
crazy.
SpongeBob on dry land. It's like when you hear a guy trying to pick up a girl on Xbox Live in the voice chat. Hello, what you gonna tell me?
See what I
I think
got.
we've all been there before, right?
I might even
We're
go
only
pick up
human
some
after
gorgs
all, so
myself.
even though he's a total wuss, I'm genuinely rooting for this guy to get out of the friend zone. The only problem is this dude got nerfed in the charisma update. Long ago, ever since the first cave baddies walked the earth, people have been trying to figure out how to get their attention. And it's not just humans either. All kinds of animals have their different romance strategies. Like those little penguins from Antarctica that impress their ladies by finding the perfect rock. Even if a penguin can find
Also got 2 vultures crystal over 1BS.
but that brings us to
Crystal
our first
vultures.
question. How's a rizless dude
Oh
like
yeah, you
Bear
do got them
supposed to get
vultures
that
in there.
mojo flowing? Well, the first thing he's got to do
Got the
is stop listening
vultures,
to
you
a
got the
single thing that his
gorgs.
buddy Ian says.
Got all the good
Because
1
this
bill
whole
items.
calling her freaky Nikki idea might actually be the worst plan I've ever heard. That might have counted as flirting back in high school, but it's definitely not going to fly if he doesn't have the confidence to back it up. And now that they're getting older, that stuff's going to just come off as immature and lame. The person he should be getting advice from is that waitress back at the diner. Because as sappy as his whole speech was, she was absolutely eating it up. And you see, that's the difference. Because instead of trying to impress Nikki by being somebody he's not, the only way he's really going to find out if she likes him is to just be himself.
Also the law crazy S had eternal on their name.
I think they really gonna do that. They just kind of did it a little too early. It'll be pretty nice. Crazies, gorgs, vultures. I heard something about the coffee percent, so I don't know about that though.
So instead of pulling her aside for some big emotional speech that might honestly come off as creepy, he should use the fact
Eternal.
that she's leaving
I pray they do, bro.
Yeah, your base gonna be upgraded, yeah. It'll be way different. Go from a $5 base to a $5 million base.
The gang all meet up for trivia night, and we're introduced to Sarah and Nikki, the core 4 group of friends who all work together at Castle's music store, which is run by Sarah's father. It on trivia night, but the opportunity comes and goes without Bear getting his chance to talk to Nikki.
5 base crazy, emoji happy tears.
Ready to continue bar hopping. Nikki says that she's tired.
5?
Keeps asking
Damn.
Ian to take her home. Ian wants
Probably
to
gonna be
keep the
worth a
party
spider or
going at the
two.
karaoke spot, so seeing an opportunity,
Soon, of
Bear
course,
offers
soon.
to take her home instead. On the drive, the two of them start making some small talk, but honestly, they're not really hitting it off. And when Bear mentions he got her a little something something, she reacts like he just shot somebody. So needless to say, it ain't looking too good. They get back to Nikki's house one awkward conversation later, and as she gets out, she mentions how when she has a crush on somebody, no one knows. Which gives our boy a glimmer of hope. So he brings up this memory about a time in band class that apparently meant a lot to him, only for her to cut him off mid-sentence.
I want that
saying it
lovely
was
Canon
no big
Browski.
deal. The signals at this point
Gotta
could not
hold
be
on
more
to it, man.
obvious, and as she's walking away, he throws one
I
last
know it.
Hail Mary and says, "See you later, freaky Nikki." Only it does not come off as confident as he planned. Now offended, she comes back to his car and decides to just ask him if he likes her. And
Okay,
now that the
cool,
moment of truth
bro.
is finally here, Bear chickens out and says that he only likes her as a friend. And she walks away seeming pretty confused.
What
by the
about
whole
Gothic?
thing. Now we'll never
Gothic.
know what might have happened if Bear just said what is on his mind, but that's when our story really kicks off.
I don't know,
Frustrated
man.
with himself, Bear breaks out his
Gotta look
pen
at the
and
offer on
says
it.
the magic words, "I wish Nikki loved me more than anyone in the fucking world," as he snaps the one wish willow in half. He then looks over to see Nikki standing on the porch, and as he's sitting there in shock, she comes walking back to the car and starts acting incredibly weird. First, she asks about his gift, but Bear lies and says that he left it at home. So then she invites him inside, saying she could really use the company because her cat just died, only to
Damn.
turn around and go, wait, that was you, and still invites him inside anyway. It is absolutely bizarre, and even Bear thinks that she might have gone too hard at trivia night when for a second she snaps out of it and starts acting like her normal self, but then goes right back to being all flirty with him again 2 seconds later. She dances around a little bit, grabs her things, and gets
Verini
back
and
in the
Spider and
car.
Garb.
Now thinking she must have had way too much to drink, Bear keeps trying to turn her down, but all of a sudden she slumps down on the
Verini, Spider,
dashboard, acting
Garb.
all depressed. And she hits him with the news that her father is dying. So, not knowing what else to do, he finally caves, and they set off back to Bear's crib.
What kind is those?
Need to get back on the road? Want to get out of here? Here for it. Dunkin' $6
Darkness.
Two delicious wake-up wraps. And a medium extra hot coffee for $6 only in Dunkin'.
Okay, gang, I know all of you are always in the comments
Stay
asking
fatigué.
how I continue to fill my physical media cave with all this heat. Well, truth be told, a lot of my collection comes from today's sponsor, Whatnot, and we're giving away $500 with them. More on that later. If you haven't heard of Whatnot before, it's the #1 live stream shopping app. It combines real-time auctions with live streaming for thousands of different products in hundreds of different categories. Pokemon cards, sports cards, toys, Legos, Funko Pops, electronics, tools, so much more. Like even snacks and candy, and wildest of all, seafood. For me though, I'm always on the hunt for new Laserdiscs, VHS, and comics. Low key, Whatnot is one of the best resources to find those hidden gems, and it's super easy to use. You just choose a stream, and the host will be showing off and auctioning items in real time, right? You can use the messaging feature to ask questions and talk to other people in the chat. It's so dope. And you guys know I'm a bit of a sweet tooth, so I picked up some candy too here at a massive discount. So if you're not already sold, use my link or scan the QR code and you'll get $15 off your first purchase on
Verini,
How much of you
Spider,
sell it, bro?
Laserdisc I got for $50 would only be $35.
Oh, which one?
Discount. Plus, if you follow
Gothic
me on
Cannon.
Whatnot, you will be automatically entered to win a $500 Whatnot credit. Think of all the
I think I'm not
Laserdiscs
30
you
on
get,
that.
and the winner will be picked 1 month from this going live. So
Yeah, I do
what
30
are you
on
waiting
it.
for? Sheesh. I'll see you guys on Whatnot, and now back to the show. All right. Yikes, my guy. I mean, I was rooting for you, but now I feel like this is borderline a crime.
Bear,
Sure, under any
Garb,
circumstances,
and
this might
Spider.
seem like the luckiest night of his life, but this is so
Okay, we
bizarre.
got Darkness
He's
Bear.
gotta
What kind of
realize
Garb and
that
what kind of
something is wrong
Spider?
here.
Tralalero,
To be fair,
tralala.
a normal person would not expect some dumb kid's toy to actually grant their wish, right? But there's already been a couple signs that it's more legit than it seems. First off, the place where he got the One Wish Willow might seem like just your average gift shop, but there was literally a warning sign right on the front door. The novelty store is called the Green Man, but that's more than just a reference to the devil's lettuce. You see, I looked it up. The Green Man is actually an old character from European folklore that represents the chaos of nature and giving into your primal instincts. So, right off the bat, we're already dealing with some sketchy energy here before we even walked in the store, which brings us to this One Wish Willow thing. Like, how could just a little stick in a box be a red flag? Well, just like with the name The Green Man of the store, it all comes down to what the willow tree represents. In ancient Europe, willow trees were seen as magical places where spirits could cross over into our world. So people would actually use their branches for spells and magic rituals, exactly like what just happened here. Now, let's say he got suspicious before he actually tried it out. If he really wanted to be careful about this, he could have just looked it up online first to see what other people were saying, check out the reviews, maybe. And if there were one too many stories about it ruining someone's life, I'd probably be safer to just leave it in the box and return it. Either that, or I'd buy a second one and give it to somebody else, let them try it out first and see what happens. And if their wish actually came true, I'd know that I have to be super careful about how I use this thing, because the magic would
I
be
might
real.
just buy it, browski, if that's cool.
To make Nikki fall in love with him was
Oh
never
yeah,
gonna
you
be
good, bro.
smart, no matter how
It's your
completely worded it, 'cause
also
not
when you
only
do
is
say
that completely
payments, you
unfair
don't
to
say
her, but since
PP.
he cheated to get
Well,
her
you know what I'm
attention,
talking about. You
it's
say
never gonna
pal
feel
pay
real anyway.
instead of the other
And
way
with the way that
around.
she keeps snapping out of it, I think
But
it's safe
I
to say
don't
the real
have
Nikki
that app.
isn't actually steering the ship, if you know what I mean. So if Bear wasn't so desperate that he wanted to completely ignore reality, this would be the chance to realize that he screwed up and start looking for a way to fix all this. But until he mans up and admits what he did, it looks like in the meantime, Nikki's gonna be stuck. When they get back to Bear's place, the dude literally
Oh,
has
ding,
a
ding,
bottle
ding,
of
dong.
lotion sitting right next to the front door, like, okay. But Nikki seems like she loves the joint. Like, she comments that it smells just like him, which, okay. And when he insists that he'll sleep on the couch, she gets him to come back and get in his bed. Before he can even clock the vibe, Nikki's taking her shirt off, and that song Televisions by Current Joyce starts playing as she cuddles up and puts her head on his shoulder. But that's when she turns around and leans in for a kiss. And since it's what he wished for, he decides to just go with it. Out of nowhere, Sydney snaps out of it and jumps back like, wait, what the only to go right back to being all in love with him again, trying to act like nothing happened. Then she just breaks down and starts sobbing until he finally lets it go. Later on, after she falls asleep, Broski gets up and decides to Google if One Wish Willows actually work. Naturally, there's mad Reddit threads where people are asking the same question. The mixed information isn't doing him any favors, with half the people swearing that it does work, while the other half say that it's just a dumb toy. So he decides to get back in bed, hoping he's just overthinking all this, but Bear has no idea how bad he just messed up both their lives. The next morning, Bear wakes up to see that Nikki is already up and at him, but walking in the kitchen, all he finds is his dead cat, Sandy, lying there on the kitchen floor. Horrified, he picks up this little "I'm sorry" card as Nikki explains that it's supposed to be some kind of memorial. And the crazy part is, she can't seem to get why he doesn't like it, but he lets it go
That
for
guy's
now, so
talking
they aren't
about
late
the
for
movie
work.
Obsession.
Ian sees the two of them walk in
Yeah, I'm watching the small recap.
thinking that Bear finally locked in. But as he starts explaining what happened last night, Ian is completely thrown. Bear says Nikki was acting like a different person, and it's all because she's emotionally wrecked due to the fact that
Not
her
bad
father is
movie.
about to pass away. Ian immediately clocks that Nikki's father is barely in her life at all, and he's pretty sure they hate each other. So Bear guesses that maybe she was on one, like that one time they all took them you-know-whats and went to the club. And the whole time they're talking, she keeps staring at him with this big, unnerving smile. Hours later, as the gang closes the shop for the day, Bear flat out says that he's not going to be able to give Nikki a ride home tonight. But she just goes, "I know," and grabs her bag and hops straight in Ian's car, leaving him even more confused. 2 hours later, Ian calls Bear and says, apparently it was all one big misunderstanding and that she was
Off I got
definitely
chocolates
on a
with
beam.
walkout
When
prove
somebody knocks
what
on the
you
door,
offer.
Bear discovers Nikki in a fancy red dress standing before him. She starts out by
Coco
confessing
Fanto
that she
Elefanto.
actually was on something, but that's not the only reason she's here. She wholeheartedly
Got a
admits
what,
that
what,
after last
what?
night, she realizes that she too has feelings for him. And now that she kind of like said it out loud first, Bear finally admits that he too has feelings for her.
At Raising Cane's, we focus on making the most craveable chicken finger meals, getting them right every time. That's why we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every...
Well, look who finally got the courage to say what's
I
on his
got
mind.
chocolates
Now,
with
I hate to
walkout
rain
proof.
on Buddy's parade here, but the whole excuse that she was just on something ain't
I mean,
adding
you see
up
what I
to
got,
it.
right?
At trivia night, she was on fire, and even though they didn't bring home the dub, Nikki didn't even seem
Send me the
drunk,
walkout
let alone
video.
so messed
I could
up like she
offer
had no
both
control
Halloween
over her
spiders for it.
actions. But if you've ever been around somebody that's zooted, like she said, it would have been a lot more obvious. Trust. And let's not brush past the fact that she turned his dead pet into an art project. Bear wants this to be true so bad, he's completely ignoring the magic. Like, if he was actually thinking with his brain...
How much
instead of his
chocolates cost?
smartphone, I guess, he'd have
Shit, I don't know, like 150, 200, something like that.
different person at this point. Whatever's going on with her, there's already been signs that it could get dangerous quickly. I'm just gonna go back to Sandy the cat for a second. When Nikki realized he
Yeah,
didn't
something
like
like
what
that.
she did, that little makeshift memorial on the kitchen floor, Nikki genuinely couldn't understand why. Any sane person would be able to see what's so weird about that, and what does this tell us? If we're being smarter than Bear and actually admitting that the One Wish Willow was magical, then it seems logical that it translated his wish into pathological obsession, because that's like the most extreme form of love imaginable. The spell is completely throwing off her sense of right and wrong, like a confused AI model that only wants
Let me
to
see
make
who
Bear
online
happy
real quick.
all the time. Now, he could just go with it and keep pretending that it's all
Then why
legit,
you
but if he
giving me
actually
2
wants to do the
Halloween
right thing,
spidera?
he should be looking for a way to
Fuse it, bro.
reverse the
Fuse
spell
it.
or wish before it gets any worse, you know? And I
Like,
already
it's
have
literally all I got on
feelings.
my
What
base,
should we
though.
do? First, we would be going
Talking about some
straight
offer.
back to the gift shop.
I did a
Try
little
to
more
get as
offer,
much
that's all I
info
got.
from the cashier as
It don't make no damn sense, boy.
So there's a chance that she might know a ritual to undo the spell, or at least be able to tell me more about how it actually works and where the hell the one witch Willow even comes from, right? That Reddit thread would also be a good place to start since there's already
Your 2 cannons and 2 spiders are not even enough for it.
Well, why would you tell me to offer? You see, that's all I got. It doesn't make sense, bro.
Versus what ended up actually happening. Did the wish ever wear off, or did they find some way to reverse it? Another thing that I noticed was on the back of the box, it says to wait 24 hours for your wish to come true, which could mean that the spell gets stronger over time. So instead of letting Nikki come over, he should be trying to stay as far away from her like as possible. Since then, it might take
They say offer then ask the question. SMH.
Yeah, they be confused as hell, man. They be confusing me too.
Then get yo money up, broke boy.
Los hortaleros.
Madly in love, making everyone else around them sick. They're sneaking off to make out at work, reading together at night, making fucking French toast in the morning. Like, what the And as cringy as it is, it appears that they're genuinely happy. But as the days go by, Bear can't shake the feeling that none of this is real. Payday arrives. So
Damn, cooked his ass up.
and Bear admits that he'd like to become a food critic one day, and Nikki laughs and says
Damn.
that she would fully support his career path. Reaching into her bag, she presents Bear with a gift.
We ain't gonna time out for that long. We do 5 minutes.
That has been in her family forever.
Top, Toby, top, top, Toby, top.
This hits Bear
Nah, they being racist on this year, and that's 24.
to get Nikki a gift, but what it does mirrors her genuine, meaningful gift.
Streamer, what could you do for a Gothic Canoni 2 traits 2-1 or a Gothic Garb 5 traits 2-9?
So he excuses himself like a good friend should.
Damn, I don't know.
Into this situation with Nikki's dying father, and according to several people, the dude is perfectly
Gothic Cannon, Gothic Bar.
every day and all that shit. But it's not just that.
It's like Halloween Spider.
At work, who said that Nikki has been telling everyone that she's not really in love with Bear. He's
Also got a gold Canoni 3 traits 1B and in Canoni.
around them is like, yo, what the
Nice.
shook. Bear walks back to the table, and she can tell right away that something's on his mind. So he just rips off the band-aid and straight up asks.
Gothic Canoni and Garb for Halo Spider?
Was his biggest mistake. Starts flipping out, creating a massive scene in their section and swearing she thought the two of them were on a
Sorry bro, kid disrespectful, emoji happy tears, first time I BB ever timed someone out.
Oh nah, you good, bro. I'm chilling.
and Nikki doing that thing that couples do, and hours later, Bear wakes up
Got the Cannon 2 trade and a guard.
It's 3:45 a.m. and not
Can I see what else you have?
as his
Yeah, this is all I got. Also, I don't do trade center. I just don't.
perfectly still in the corner of
I'm not going to do trade center.
she walks towards him saying he's adorable.
Just have to do the trade my way.
Shirt smells just
K.
like him. Bear's heart rate
Just the heads up though, just to let you know.
down his back.
Why?
Fear, and without warning,
Cause people be trying to scam, bro.
her spot and begins to
But yeah, look, you would get your item, I would get my item.
she says.
I don't
Just,
think I
you
can
know.
do trade then. Sorry.
Nah, you good, man. Don't do it. Don't do
Los
it. It's okay.
exocolitos.
But she just
But yeah, I don't understand why everybody got to do trade center like I'm just trying to scam or something.
How can they scam you through trading center?
Easy. I've been scammed through trading center. I've seen people get scammed through trading center. But it's just this easy. You give me your 2 items
Banana
and you
manito
get your item. Either you do that or you don't do it at all.
6-7.
How?
I mean, I can't really force you to do it. I think I'll pass on it. Let's back to this.
tells him to go back to sleep again in this creepy, psychotic voice. and
What's in your basement?
guards for the living room screaming, "Why don't you love me?" Only to come back in holding roses in front of her face. I mean, those guys are, "What's
There's nothing in the basement.
After standing there in total silence, she just
Wait,
puts
is
down
it?
and says it's for his cat, and then hops back into bed and falls
Ah,
asleep.
okay.
In the
I got
morning,
this
Bear
down now.
notices that Nikki cut his hair while he was sleeping. When he asks her Loki what the fuck happened last night, she just pulls him in for a kiss until that lizard brain kicks in. It's Nikki's day off, so Bear makes her promise to just stay home and act normal until he gets back. But it's too late, as she's covered the entire front door in
KCTY.
suggesting that he just stay home for the day since he can't get out the front door.
Bakrahmat mam.
Taking a deep breath, he plays it off like nothing's wrong one last goodbye, and Nikki just stands there staring at the door. And the second he's gone, Nikki unleashes her bowels.
Last time I tried to do trade center,
Show you on YouTube. So here's a shot of
I think
me
I
holding
posted
my
this
nuts
shit.
and
Yeah.
see what up, Kilo?
A dude literally came in with empty base, and he tried to get one of his buddies, or one of his buddies, to come in with him.
Unlock bigger screens.
Los móviles.
Yeah, you gotta do all that to get a brain rot.
Speeder buttons.
There's too much going on.
Go play on PC with Google Play Games. Download now.
Centralucci nuclearucci.
Blazing wings and a big six for $19.99. Careful, those babies are movie picante. I can handle the heat. You want to try it?
Buffalo Wild Wing.
But yeah, this is really hitting the fan. It's got to be like a week and a half since he made the wish, and Nikki's already gone way past clingy to acting like a demonic cartoon. It's got to be one of two things, right? Full mental breakdown or the One Wish Willow. Can Bear afford to get her a psychiatrist?
There they go, how I trade.
It's got to be the One Wish Willow gang. It seems like if he ever goes home again, she's never gonna
Trade
let him
machine so you can
leave. But as
join
long
in,
as
scam and
Nikki
raid and lag switch with your buddies.
actually gives him some time to try some shit out.
Might well get out of chat. That ain't happening, bro.
Suggest in some way Nikki's former self was trying to break through. Like when Nikki says that she doesn't like her dreams, it could be
I
that
think
the
TikTok
real
and
Nikki
YouTube be
is
full of
trying
scams
to
though,
decide her dreams
24/7.
or she experiences the truth. Which Nikki is falling apart because she's aware that something is missing.
I
But
really
she has
should just
all
only
this love
sell
for Bear,
at this
but she
damn
doesn't
point.
feel whole. It's creepy as because it might be the first
Everybody wanna scam, man. Shit boring and lame.
the flowers she used to block her face right before she got
And they don't never stop. The base be full in the motherfucker. Still scam.
Either the real Nikki is trying to hide or break through. So why not just use the One Wish Willow to make another wish? Well, okay, the problem with that package clearly says you only get one wish. I feel like at this point all he's got
If I'm close with a scammer, why would you trade me? Don't make sense, does it?
Like Wish 101 though.
Hmm,
Bear needs to get off his
interesting.
fucking bike and go back to the
We
green
have
room
at it,
and
man.
buy up that whole box of One Wish Willows, even the ones up underneath the register that they haven't even put out yet because it's time. He's also going to need an Academy Award winning script because the wish has to be absolutely perfect to make sure that nothing goes wrong.
What about Darkness Spider, Darkness Garb and Default Eternal?
Exactly how she was before Bear made his wish. Like let's just start with that one. Try walking up to some random stranger who's never even heard of a One Wish Willow. Maybe
What about what now?
look for someone down on their luck, take the willow out of the package first.
Darkness
so that they
Spider,
don't get any
Garb,
ideas,
and
then offer them
Eternal.
500 ducats, but only if they break the stick and repeat the exact words that I wrote down on a piece of paper. He could also just go with someone he trusts, like Ian or Sarah.
Probably not.
Sarah might honestly be a better option because she already likes Bear, full stop. Thinks he's dreamy and all that, and is good friends with Nikki, giving her every reason to want to help them out. All they have to do is use one of their wishes to break the spell, and bingo, problem solved. Later that day, Bear and Sarah take their lunch.
He can't spell witch, you put witch like a wicked witch.
Bear opens up his lunch
Come on, man.
and finds two weird Polaroids. One of him from some kind of strange angle, and the other one's a selfie of them in bed with the words "Not me" written on the bottom. Sarah says that it's so weird just how serious they've become. Bear confronts her with the private info he had shared about Bear, about how Nikki comes to work sometimes and says that she thinks about him like a little brother. Sarah's pissed that Ian likes to share secrets between the friend group, but before she knows it, her father pulls her aside as another college rejection.
Halloween's 30.
Her dad is giving her one more chance before she has to either move out of his house, stop applying to liberal arts colleges, start her career, being her dad about things, right? Deflated, she takes a seat and puts her head
Banana
on Bear's
Nanito
shoulder.
Bandito.
During their little moment, she grabs the cheesy note that Nikki put on his lunchbox, teaching him about how whack the two of them had become. Only when she flips it over, she notices something weird. On the other side, it says, "What's the verdict on Cat?" And when he looks down at his sandwich, that's when it hits him. This girl actually cut up pieces of his dead cat and fed it to him like a
Damn.
peanut butter and jelly sandwich. With a sense of dread that only people who have accidentally eaten their pets can relate to, he chucks up Sandy in the bin and swears that it's just an inside joke between
Yeah, I can put the
Nikki
app
and
cash
himself.
in.
After clocking out, Ian asks for a ride back to his crib, and he's got some more questions about what's been going on with Nikki. He says the whole thing is sus as, and people are starting to wonder if Bear is doing anything shady, but he swears
There you go,
that
right
their
there.
relationship is can prove that there's no toxic codependency going on between them, he should be able to leave Nikki at home for the night and kick it at Ian's place for some beer pong. Bear grows less confident about how he's going to relay the news to Nikki and how she'll take him going out without her. Plus, he's still got to confront her about the whole cat thing, so he sits in the driveway for a minute practicing what he's going to say. The One Wish Willow music faintly plays from inside his backpack, so he takes out the box and decides to ring up the customer service.
Nah, I don't do trade center.
Somebody picks up, and the guy on the other
Last time I did that, somebody joined with an empty base, and they kept inviting their buddy, so nah, it ain't worth it. I don't even want to try it no more. Can I DM it? Nah, just take it out of chat, and then just send me a DM when you send it. It's also in my bio.
Bear asks him why Nikki suddenly becomes enraged and randomly spazzes out, and the guy just asks Bear if he wants to talk to Nikki to find out. On speakerphone, all he hears is the real Nikki violently screaming in the
Or do you
background
need me to
until
send it
he
to you?
finally hangs up.
Lucky Rot.
Oh, here out.
Lucky Rot.
Honey, I have a friend with benefits.
Hey, Doug.
Kechuru and Mosturu.
Yeah, 5% cash back rewards on gas.
I appreciate you, Margo.
This is good. Get the credit one thing. X5 Mississippi. Alright, this scene perfectly captures an entire generation's fear of calling up strangers on the phone. You used to be able to ask random strangers if their refrigerators are running, but now if you ask questions, somebody might tell you that they've got your girlfriend's soul captive in the shadow realm. And whatever replaced her, it's most likely something demonic. But as bad as that sounds, there's still some good news, because the more we know about what we're up against, the better our chances are of finding a way to bring her back. This changes a lot about how we can approach things, because first of all, we don't have to be nice to Nikki or anything like that, since we know that it's not even the real her. But we still have to be careful to keep her physically safe, since she's gonna need her body if and when we can break the spell. It's gonna be a delicate balancing act. She's steadily getting more unhinged with every minute that goes by, and it feels like any minute now she might start getting really violent. But since we can't just roundhouse kick the demon out of her without causing some injuries, that means that we're gonna have to plan ahead. And at this point, Bear should hit up a few stores first and arm himself with some non-lethal weapons before he gets back home. Like he's gonna need that pepper spray, blinding her for a minute or two and giving me a chance to get away. I'm also picking up a high-powered flashlight for the same reason, since shining it straight in her eyes could throw her off. And at the very least, we grab in a straitjacket or some ratchet straps in case we have to restrain Nikki from hurting herself. All that's just to keep her safe. I mean, we still have to break this spell and bring her back to normal. And even though the guy on the phone said that it can't be done, I still have a few ideas. The first thing I'd do is go back to the shop and buy all the One Wish Willows like I mentioned before, and then I'd try having someone just wish her back to normal. But if that didn't work, then we go to the next plan, which is using a wish to change the way that wishing works. You see, guy on the phone never said you cannot change your wish, he just said that they do not. So I'd just get somebody to wish that the One Wish Willow helpline had the power to cancel people's wishes with no negative consequences as long as they asked for it. Boom! I just beat them at their own game. And then Bear could just cancel his wish, and they could all just put this crazy happening behind them. Well... So back inside, he flips on the lights, only to find Nikki looking like a disgusting mess. Looks like she's been standing in the same spot all day, but she just blames it on a stomach bug and hops...
What, you get out the machine from Carnival Spider?
Oh, I think I got either a No My Bike or a Penguin. I got one of them.
Over at Ian's, the shower instantly stops because apparently Sarah already...
Wasn't nothing too crazy.
They were both invited. Nikki starts flipping out again until he finally gives up and asks her to tag along. And Ian is not happy that he didn't stick to the plan. Both of them agreed to just ride the night out, but Bear is really on some thin ice with his friends. So eventually everyone starts playing a game of Jenga.
It's nothing too crazy.
Has a challenge written on the blocks in Sharpie. When one of their friends pulls switch seats, he decides to trade places with Bear. So right away, Nikki starts getting all clingy in front of the whole squad. Somebody cracks a joke about how it seems like Nikki is under a spell.
Sad face, haha.
Cracking up way harder than everybody else, making the whole vibe incredibly awkward. And that's when Freaky Nikki hits
I just like throwing shit in there. That's all.
It's her turn and she pulls a brick, but doesn't reveal what it says. But she does stand up and looks like she's about to read something from her notes app. Before anyone can clock what's going on, she's reading some insane fetish fanfic of some absolutely messed up version of the fairy tale Hansel and Gretel that seems oddly like it's supposed to be about her and Bear, and it's the creepiest thing that anyone at the party has ever heard. But when she's finally done, she just sits down as if it was totally normal, and after a few seconds of awkward silence, they decide to just move on and act like nothing ever happened.
Just pulled El Crunchador.
Ooh, what kind of El Crunchador you get?
Which is not good, because that means he has to kiss Sarah. Swiftly, Nikki jumps up and hits him.
What kind you get, man?
Looks at you when you eat the last slice of pizza face ass.
Heaven.
Walks over to Sarah's
Heaven?
chair, slides it back,
Need to index that.
on Bear's left, all without saying a word. He nervously
need
leans
to
over and
index
gives her a kiss, which sends her on another vaguely threatening speech about how everyone else in the room will never know the beauty of true love. Right at the end of her TED Talk, the real Nikki surfaces for just a moment, screaming that this is not me, and shatters a wine bottle on the table and starts jamming the glass into her face.
Damn.
Belle takes over again, sending everyone at the party running for their lives, and Bear is just like, alright, I'ma head out.
Back to school is back, and with Walmart's must-haves, you can check off everything on their list, even a hunter's backpack. You tell me. With a fit this sharp,
He should never did that. That's
Chillin',
fucked
chillin'.
up. He done messed that girl life up.
Eternals
off of
got
his
switched back to
feeling.
sad face.
That's fucked up.
We know your business thrives on positive reviews. Not a single roach can drive into a single star. Keep them out. Customers in. With custom treatments and proactive prevention.
Eternals got switched back. What do you mean?
Do some embarrassing stuff at parties before, but this joint right here just went down in the Hall of Fame of crash outs. Nikki's officially gone from being a stage 5 clinger to actually violent.
The Eternal
It's only a
Gorge?
matter of time before she straight up kills somebody. Now, there's still a chance that they can save her as long as they hurry the fuck up. Bear is still the only one who knows there's a magical side to all this.
Yay.
Even if this was just
Ah, yeah, I seen that. I don't know why they did that though. That shit was a little random as hell.
He can't just pull up at the mental hospital and drop her at the door. Even adults who swear that they're fine can still be held for a while if the doctors genuinely believe they're a danger to themselves or others. Instead of him and Nikki leaving by themselves, I would take Ian, Sarah, and anyone else who wanted to come with me and then bring Nikki straight to the emergency room. And while she was there,
People were mad about the money.
what just happened back at the
Yeah, they reset everybody's money. Like for some reason, 53 multiplied right here. I thought it was like lower than that. Yeah. I mean, I'm making a good amount of money, but I don't know what's going on right now. Got my Fushimi 3 trait right here.
All Nikki has to say is, I know Sarah likes you. Like, that's somehow the problem here. Bear wants to know if the real Nikki actually likes him, not just this weird version of herself that's been around these last few weeks.
Nope.
She just hits
No,
him
she
with
don't.
this big demonic smile and goes, not to worry, I'm your freaky Nikki. Which is obviously something the real her would never say. They keep arguing back and forth, and Bear brings up the idea of spending just one night apart. Causing her to start sobbing and promising that she can be normal. The more she tries to fix it, the worse it gets.
That boy's a Halloween song and relevant to Christmas. But that ain't even fused food.
Realizing this, she looks him dead in the eyes and goes, I love you in every reality. It seems so genuine. He folds and says, I love you too. Still wanting all this.